centuries ago, the first group of enslaved Africans that landed in the English colony of Virginia came from Angola, seized by British pirates from a captured Portuguese slave ship. Young people in Angola are now learning about the history of the slave trade in the classroom, as viewers Mayra de Lassalette and Betty Ayoub found when they traveled to the African nation. Mayra de Lassalette narrates their report.
How does a country heal from centuries of slavery and the additional strains of colonization and civil war? It starts with understanding history, says Armindo Jaime Gomes. But Gomes, a historian, says there's not enough scholarly work being done about his country's past, in particular, Angola's link with slavery in the United States.
Nós não temos estudos.
We don't have the research or publications or institutions dedicated to this subject. We don't have bibliographic references that support what we know, other than what Europeans wrote in their own way and for themselves.
Gomes complains that Western accounts often do not include the barbaric practices. For example, he says after Britain abolished slavery in 1833, the trade continued illegally, and Portuguese slavers were ruthless in avoiding being caught.
A técnica usada por portugueses.
When British inspectors reached Portuguese ships, they wouldn't find any slaves. The Portuguese strategy was to throw all the black people into the sea when they spotted British ships. The Portuguese would then return to shore and pack the ship up again. On top of that, Angola's curriculum at every grade level has only one chapter on the slave trade, even when we get to the university.
At the Colégio Caju Middle School in Luanda, in the studies of slavery, teachers are careful not to provoke resentment over race.
We need to make sure our students are well informed about slavery and understand it was in fact a problem. Unfortunately, black slavery is very connected with racism, so we have to be very careful when we're teaching this subject.
When I first heard about slavery, that we were colonized by the Portuguese, in a way I felt hatred. It was a new thing for me, but with time, I got to learn that slavery existed way before, and in the ancient times, it was part of the rise of some kingdoms.
Kavunga students have different views of slavery's legacy.
Even though slavery was a bad thing, it also had its benefits. Slavery helped many countries in Europe, and Africa also got exposed to other cultures.
I'd like to tell young Americans, do not hold onto resentment. Now we have to be more correct, have better ideas than our ancestors, and prevent slavery from happening again.
Angola's slave history has seeped into the culture, resonating in murals and music. Capoeira is a martial arts form developed by slaves. They used music to disguise self-defense moves. Justino Pinto de Andrade, known to capoeira enthusiasts as Faísca, teaches the sport and explains why it remains popular.
I think it's essentially related with the musical part. We have berimbau, for example, the atabaque and pandeiro, all of them African instruments. Capoeira, without its music, is not capoeira. It's the only martial art in the world that performs to music with instruments and chants. Music is like a stamp, it's the African's brand.
Some capoeira songs tell the stories of enslaved black people. One is Negro Inheritance, which Faísca wrote to describe their suffering.
For a man to know where he's going, he must know where he comes from, right?
Informed by the past, Faísca wants what Angola's students also say they want: to move forward. Mayra de Lassalette with Betty Ayoub for VOA News, Angola.